It sounds like you, Gail, really have your act together, and you are the kind of person that is trying to get yourself prepared. And you sound to me like the kind of person who's not going through the drive-thru because you're tired. This video is brought to you by our Dining on a Dime cookbook. We have quick and easy recipes your family will love to help you get in and out of the kitchen fast. Please visit us at livingonadime.com. It's 25% off now. Things are going crazy with inflation. I got a question from a reader. What is she supposed to do with all this inflation? Hello guys, so I got this email from Gail and I'm going to read it to you and I'm going to answer her question. Guys, I'm starting to hear the rumblings about inflation, as I imagine you are too. Yes. I, like you, have been blessed during these kinds of bad times before, but I am still wondering if there isn't some thinking or strategizing we ought to do about this. Interest rates will rise, good for those who are saving, bad for those who are buying a house. Prices will go up for everything, goods and what it costs to transport them. Wondering if we should stock up and buy things now. Like right now, before the prices go through the roof. Of course, debt is a no-no at any time, so there's that. Big ticket items will go up and then eventually come down as people are priced out of being able to buy them. My thought is to stock up on the necessary things that are affordable now, try to stack some money away, and then ride out the storm for as long as possible. What do you think? Could you do a show on this? Okay, so this is that show, and here's what I think. If you do not have your debt 100% paid off, everything, you need to get it paid off. I do not agree with financial gurus who say put 15% in investments before you pay off your house, fund your kids' college before you pay off your house. No, I think that is absolutely 100% wrong. Now, I know it works for a lot of people who have never had a catastrophe in their life, but I have lived through a mom who was divorced, a mom who got sick. I have lived through extreme poverty. And I can tell you that the one thing that saved us through the absolute horrible financial setbacks that we kept having over and over again was the fact that my mom paid off our house and was completely debt-free before she got sick. And I think it's wrong for parents to be funding their kids' college or for people to be funding their 401ks before paying off their house. I have run the numbers, and that's fine. If you want to put $20 a month in an investment from when you're younger, that's fine. But over 40 years, that's only $100 and some odd thousand. I think it was like $128,000 or $48,000. I don't know. It wasn't very much money. And yes, it's free money. I get that. But if something happens to your spouse and he dies, let's say you're a wife and your husband dies, what are you going to do? How are you going to pay for a house payment if you don't have life insurance? How are you going to pay the bills? If your bills are lower by being completely debt-free, you don't have to worry about it. So I think it's the same thing here. You need to, before anything, before your kids' college, before your retirement, anything, you need to be 100% debt-free, totally debt-free. Everything needs to go to getting your debt paid off, because then you don't have to worry about having so much money in retirement to manage all this debt. It makes absolutely no sense to have $4,000 worth of debt between car payments and house loans and student loans for your kids and all this stuff when you go into retirement, when if you just would have gotten all that stuff paid off and or not paid for that stuff, like paying for your kids' college, you would only have to come up with a couple of $1,000s a month to live on instead of, $6,000 to $8,000 a month. If you're having to carry $4,000 worth of debt alone, there's $4,000 extra you have to earn or have earning for you in your savings or whatever. So it doesn't even make sense. I mean, it's just common sense, and no one uses common sense for this stuff anymore. So get all your debt 100% paid off. That's one reason why Mike and I are having such a hard time finding a house right now, is we don't want to have to get another loan to pay for the kind of house that we're looking for and pay for the increase in prices right now. That's why we're just staying where we're at the moment until something comes up that we can afford, that we can pay cash for, because we don't want to have that loan. Now, we may make the decision to go ahead and get another mortgage if something comes around, but at this point, we're trying not to do that. I'm not going to say we're not going to do that, but we're trying not to. Next, stock up on what you can. I would say if you don't have at least 3 months worth of food and supplies in your house, get at least 3 months worth of food and supplies in your house. Just on a normal crisis basis, you need to have that much in stock. You never know when someone's going to get sick. You never know when someone's going to die. You never know when the government's just going to decide to shut down for no reason, like they did in 2020. So you need to have at least 3 months worth of food on hand. Now, if there's things that you use regularly, like Q-tips, cotton balls, birth control, things like that, I would go ahead and stock up and get at least a 1 or 2 year supply of those kinds of things. Soap, shampoo, that kind of thing. Yes, I would go ahead and stock up. Here's the thing. We did a video saying the other day that the crisis is coming and what goes up must come down. Well, since we did that video I think it was just 6 or 8 weeks ago, just in that short amount of time, I am not sure now that housing prices are going to go down. Other things have come up in the meantime, like the crazy lumber prices, the fact that they're talking about a possible 40-year mortgage now, which is absolutely absurd. Those kinds of things could keep housing prices up, and they may not come down now. I will tell you right now, just in the last 6 to 8 weeks or so, it is really turning out to just be a free-for-all. We have a crazy president that's our president right now that literally has no idea what he's doing. And so when just between 2016 and 2019, the economy was booming, I'm not going to tell you that the economy is going to do well, because really the economy is not coming back. You don't have lumber prices going up that high and say the economy is going to be coming back. You don't have housing prices going up this high. Now, I have already proven that food prices are not going up yet, but housing and lumber, it's going up, but you still have to keep it in perspective. I saw one news story that said housing prices for new houses are going up $36,000 for new house builds. Okay, on a $300,000 house, another $36,000 really isn't that big of a deal. It's a jump in price. 15, 20%? I don't know. I didn't do the math before this video, but whatever percentage jump it is, it's a jump. But if you can afford a $300,000 house, you can probably afford a $336,000 house. Most people aren't paying cash for their houses now, and that extra $30 or $40 a month payment that it's going to cost you really isn't going to break the bank for most people. So once again, keep it in perspective. Get as much as you can paid off. It sounds like you, Gail, really have your act together, and you are the kind of person that is trying to get yourself prepared. And you sound to me like the kind of person who's not going through the drive-thru because you're tired, or have your kids in $5,000 worth of sports every 6 months. So I think you sound like, Gail, you pretty much have your act together. And I would just say, go ahead and stock up on what you can. Here's the thing. If you always use Q-tips, you're going to always use Q-tips. If you use soap, you're going to always buy soap. So it's not like you're buying things that you're not going to already use and you already have it on hand. So then if prices do go up, you're prepared and you don't have to worry about it. So I hope that helps give you some perspective. I know things are kind of going crazy right now. And I'll be perfectly frank, the Bible talks about it's going to get a whole lot worse. The Bible's very specific in that there are going to be really bad, hard economic times, and that things are going to get really bad. That is why we are going to end up with a one world government eventually. So if you are a Christian, you don't need to be worrying about that because you're not going to be here anyway. But it is going to happen. So I don't know where on that timeline Christians are going to be taken out and how long we're going to have to stay and put up with this. But, it is good to prepare while you can. And then if Christians are taken out of here beforehand, it'll just be left there for your neighbors and your friends and family. And quite frankly, in your stockpile, I would leave a Bible. I would leave an explanation of the rapture of the church. And I would leave that in your house with supplies for people who come in later and are raiding your house because everything has gotten so bad, that you leave those things in your home, explaining what happened, leaving a Bible so they can know Christ for themselves. It's not going to be too late. Even during the 7-year tribulation, it's not going to be too late. But explaining to them that it is going to be really, really bad. And so they can understand what's going on. Because if the news is as crazy as it is now, I can't imagine what the news is going to do when all the Christians are raptured out and everybody else is left behind. I mean, I might be explained by aliens, but it'll be interesting seeing that from above, how that all plays out. And so I think that it would be really good for you to leave those explanations, if you're a Christian, in your home, explaining to people what happened so that they know what actually went on and how they can go to heaven in the next few years themselves. So anyway, I know that kind of got off track, but somebody need to hear that. So there you go. Please visit us at livingonadime.com. We will see you guys next time.